Yeah, just 2 minutes. Okay, I will start the class. Okay, let's start the class. Uh, okay, my screen is visible to you, right? Yeah. Okay, now I will run the project, the industry project. Okay. Well, so yesterday what we have done with change password, right? The customer change password and the customer login uh, and the customer logout. Okay, we are done with the change password. So once I will run the project and okay, now I try to log in with myself. Okay, rather at the rate gmail.com root. Sorry, I changed the password yesterday, right? So that is Radha. See, when I click on the login button, okay, login successful. Okay, now what we have done yesterday, we are done with logout. Okay, when the user click on the logout buttons, he needs to get logout from his profile page. Okay, and he needs to go to the customer page that I have done yesterday. And the change password also completed yesterday, where he needs to enter the old password and the new password, where the new password has to be unique, not same as the old password, and the old password must be equals to its password. Like if you need to enter the correct password, if not, it will not get updated. Okay, we are done with change password and the logout. Now today we will do the my profile page. See, okay, when the customer clicks on the my profile, here he needs to display his profile details like his full name, his email, like whatever the data he was entered in the time of registration. So we need to display the data and we need to give the actions as update. Okay, he need to display all his data here in the within in the table. Okay, and we need to give the action as an update table. Okay, so I will show you that. I will create that. in the today's class. Okay, for that, when you click on the my profile, so we need to create one page. Okay, that is nothing but customer my profile page. Okay, so I am going to the Eclipse, and here inside industry, inside the web app, I'm creating one file that is nothing but customer customer my profile. Okay, I click on the finish. See, this customer my profile will be displayed. Okay, it has to represent the data of the customer to his, so it will visible to the customer. So we need to use a template for that. So this is not the back end process, this is a front end UI presentation. So we need to use our template to, and we need the links. Okay, we need the head links. Okay, so that I am including the head links file. Okay, the first one was done. Now what we need to do, we need to have the header and the footer, right? So the customer profile, we will be showing his profile when he gets logged in. So when the user or the customer gets logged in, so here we need to use the customer header, not the main header or the admin header, because the customer is the one he enters into his profile. So we will use the customer header, customer customer header, and we use the footer. Okay, file equals to footer, footer.jsp. Now see, I will go back and I will refresh here. I refreshed it here, and now when I click on the my profile page, see, here we are getting my profile page because I have created now, and I have placed a header file and the footer file. Okay, now what we need one banner area. On over the banner, we need to display it as my profile, and below the below the banner we need to display one table. Within the table we need to display his profile data like his email or like data. No need to display his password. Okay, so whatever the data we have in our database. Okay, while he was registered, so we need to display all this data like his full name, okay, his ID, email, no need of password. So we need to display mobile number, date of birth, address, pin code. Okay, and if you want to display image also, you can display his image. Okay, and the status, so no need of any status, so it's enough for until image. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to now add banner and we need to display the data. So for that, I'm going to again Eclipse. Inside the Eclipse, here I need a banner. Okay, so for that I am using the banner. Okay, so same banner I am using for every page. Okay, now here I am changing the customer to the my profile. Okay, and I will remove this. So in the customers my profile, if we click on the home button, it has to go to customer home page, not the index page. So I am using customer home page. Okay, so yeah, customer home page dot home. Okay, now this will, okay, now we are done with the profile page. Okay, now we are done with the profile page, and I will show you here. And I refresh it, see, here we are getting displayed as our banner and my profile. Okay, now what we need after the banner area, we need to, here we need to take one table here. Okay, here we need to take one table and we need to display his profile data. So for that, I am taking the section. Okay, one section, and I am giving one class as margin 5. So I'm setting the margin for that section as a margin 5, and I'm taking one more div. Okay, and I will give the div class as, okay, that is a container. So we will get the space as a container, and next I'm taking inside the container one table tag. So for that table tag, I am using the class as, so it has to be table, and the table has to be border. So these are all the classes we are by default created in our css. Okay, style.css. Here we have our main.css, right? So in that css file we will have all these classes, and our bootstrap here we have included. See, bootstrap means bootstrap css, so we can use the bootstrap classes also. Okay, now inside the table what we have two more, that is T head, and one another is the T body. Okay, inside the T header we will give the header for the table. Okay, that should be in the row. So I am using tr. Okay, that is a table row, and that using the th, that is nothing but table header. Okay, for customer profile, what we have here, customer id. Okay, now I will give the first column heading as customer ID. Okay, and the next column header as th, as full name. Okay, full name. And what we have full name, email. Okay, and for that I'm giving the header as taking the header as email, so no need of any password. So I will give the mobile. Okay, mobile, and we have, to the mobile we have the date of birth. So I will display it as, I am given the header as date of birth, and one more heading, that is address, and we have pin code and we have image. So I am taking three headers. One is address, and what is another one, pin code, right? Pin code, and another one is image. So we need to display the image also. Okay, in the today's class I will show you that also, how the image present in the database we can display it in the, how can we display it in the profile page. Okay, now after the image I'm giving one more header, and I'm giving the header name as action. Okay, I'm giving this header because here by displaying his data, and we need to give one action, that is nothing but update. If you want to update his profile like a mobile number or like a address, so he can use that action. Okay, he can use that action. So now once we will check whether it's working fine or not. Okay, save it and go to our application. Okay, now I am refreshing it. See, below the banner area, here I have created one table. Inside the table, this is a header th. So I have given each header of the each column, which is nothing but CID, customer ID, full name, email, mobile, date of birth, address, pin code, image, and the action. So below this, in the table body, we need to display the profile. Whoever the customer was logged in, we need to show his data. Okay, here he will recap the yesterday's class. That is nothing but, when the customer, here in the customer, he will enter his email and password. Okay, it will go to the customer's data page, right? So where is that customer data page? Okay, here what we are doing, here we are checking whether the email and password is correct or not, and after that we are retrieving the status of that customer, and we are checking with that status whether he was accepted by admin or not. Okay, if the status was accepted, then we are storing his email in our session. Okay, so that we can use his email when he was in the session. Okay, okay, all of you remember, right, this session? Now we need to use this session where in our customer profile. Okay, here first, now I will use the scriptlet tags. Okay, I will use the scriptlet tags. I will get that email and store it in this email variable. So how we need to first convert that into string, and we need to use the session we have previously set the value in the by using the name c email okay, now here we need to get that attribute. Okay, we need to get that attribute and we need to give the name of it. What is the name? That is the c email we have used to store the email. So now by using this name, we will get the session attribute. Okay, whatever the value was stored in the c email, it will be converted into the string and it will be stored in the email variable. Okay, now after this, now what we need to do, we need to retrieve whatever the customer data was stored in the database. So for that we need to connect to the database, right? So we have created one connect file where we have uploaded our driver and connected with our database. So I am using that connect file to connect with the database. So I am including that connected file. Okay, connect.jsp. Now we are connected with the database in the customer my profile page. Now what we need to do, we need to execute our code so that we have to retrieve and we need to show the data to the customer. So for that I am using try and catch block. If the any error occurs, it will catch when you write the code in the try block. In the try block we need to use the prepare statement. Okay, prepare statement ps equals to con dot prepare statement. Here we need to select everything from the customer. Okay, customer only, right? Customer. Okay, customer, where where email, here we have the heading, column heading as an email. So where the email equals to question mark. So I am using the placeholder. In the place of the placeholder, I need to set the value of the email. Whoever the present logged in customer, we have the email of that person. So when we set the value for that email, it will retrieve the data of the particular customer. Okay, one comma email. We have only one placeholder, so I am setting only one value. So it will retrieve the data of the customer from the customer table of whoever the email was equals. Okay, whoever the email was stored in this, so his profile will be everything data will be retrieved, and we will store the data by using the result set while we are executing that query. Okay, now the rs, okay, then rs will be stored in the result will be stored in the rs. So we will loop it rs dot next. Okay, we will loop it through the one row. Okay, so now I am ending that script. I am ending the scriptlet tag and I'm opening the scriptlet tag, so that in between the opening and closing tag we can use this body tag. Okay, so in between we are using this body tags because in the body tag itself only we are displaying data, and to display that data, the data will be present in this while loop. Okay, so the data will be looped through this while loop, so we need to use the body in this loop. Okay, so inside the body we need to display it through the row, so I am taking the tr. Okay, inside the tr we need to display the data, so we are using td. Okay, now here by using expression tag we need to get the data, right? So we need to loop it to the rs, right? So here I am looping it rs, so we need to get, okay, I am getting what we have in the first column. We need to get the customer id, so that id was in the integer, so I am using get int, and whichever the column number we need to write here in our database. What is the column number for customer id? It is first column. Okay, this is the first column, right? So I am using the first column. Same. Next, after what we have in the second column, in the second column we have the full name. So that is the string. By using same scriptlet tag, by using the rs dot, we need to get that value. So I'm using the get, and that is a string value. So I'm using string. And where it was in the second column. So I am using column number 2. So here I need to close the data. Now, same for the all the remaining columns. Okay, so we will use the TD and expression tag and RS to get the data of the email. So that T is in the string format. So that T is in the third column. And same for the mobile number. rs dot get string of, see here, mobile number. The mobile number in the database, in which column we have 1 2 3 4 5. It is in the fifth column, so we are not displaying the password of it, so we have skipped the fourth column. So same td, and again I'm using the scriptlet expression tag for the date of birth. Rs dot get date of sixth column, right? Okay, after the mobile, so it is a sixth column. And same for the rs dot get address, right? So address is in seventh column, and td rs dot, that is pin code, right? So it is in the integer form and it is in the eighth one. Now here in the place of image, I'm just giving simple image only. I will explain about that. Okay, don't worry about that. I will give the image. Okay, I will explain about that image, how to display the image in the column. Okay, now in the action element, what we are saying, we need to give one action that is nothing but update. So when he click on the update, we need to go to another page where he need to get the data in the form element, form. Okay, in the form, so that he can change whatever data he wants to change. So for that I'm using one anchor link, and I will give the one button element. Okay, button info. Okay, I think it's enough. But now, sorry. Okay, now, okay, we are done with the data. Okay, what if the data of the customer, okay, the data will be, okay, I think that's it. Now I am saving it, and when I click on, and I'm refreshing it, see here we get the data of the customer, particular customer, which is nothing but the Radha data was displayed in this profile, where this customer ID is 1, full name is Radha, email is radha@gmail.com, mobile number is 99 something, date of birth, address, pin code, image, and here we need to display image, and I will show you that. And here the action is nothing but update. Okay, see, if he, when he registered, if he enters the wrong data in the address and the pin code, or in the date of birth, or in the mobile, or his full name, so he need to update it, or you need to change that data. So for that reason, here we have given the update button. Okay, now when we click on the update button, it has to go to the update page. Okay, for that we need to create one more file by naming it as customer my profile update. Okay, where we need to use the same header, footer, and head links, and the banner area. Okay, but we need to display all his data in the form. Okay, in the form we need to display that data, so that he need to change his data. And when you click on the submit, so we need to take all the data to the backend process. So again we need to create one more file, and we need to retrieve the data whatever he was updated, And when we click on submit, we need to retrieve all that data and we need to update that in our database. Okay, so that process we will start now. Okay, when he clicks on the update page, we need to create one more page. Okay, now here we have, right, update. Here I am taking one H reference, and I'm giving the name as customer my profile update. Okay, update.jsp. Here we need to see, here we are sending the customer to the customer my profile update page, and we need to send the id, the unique number of the customer. Okay, we need to send the id of that customer to that page. So how we will send? With the link, by using question mark id equals to script expression tag. Okay, expression tag, here rs dot get integer of 1. Okay, we are sending the id of that particular customer to the update page. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to create this, we need to create that file in the web app. I'm creating customer my profile update page. Here this page will be displayed to the, it will be represent to the user. So I'm using the template and the links, file equals to head links. These links are important. Okay. Mhm. Headlinks.jsp, and what we need the header. Which header? The customer header, because we are in the customer's profile. Okay, so for that I'm using the customer header dot .jsp, and what we need one more file is footer, footer.jsp. Okay, now we are done with the header and the footer, and what we need the banner also. Okay, in the customer my profile also we have the banner, so I am using that banner, and I will name, here we have the my profile previously, but here up, I will write it as update my profile. Okay, this is update page, right? So I'm using update my profile. Now after the banner, what I have said, the data has to be displayed in the form. Okay, when the customer registered, he was entering the data in the form itself, right? So I will go to that customer registered page. Okay, now see, we need to display that data in this form. We need to display that data in this form, because previously in the registered data in this form we will try to take the data of the customer, but in the update page we need to display in the form, and whatever data he wants to change, he can just back, like clear that data, and he will update the new data, and he clicks the submit button. So I am using this form, I'm using this form in the customer my profile page. In the customer my profile page, see, here we don't need of one thing, that is image. Okay, for to update the image with this data, it will be difficult to use, so I am deleting one image file. Okay, and here we don't need of any password, because we are, for updating of the password, we are using separate file, that is nothing but change password. Okay, now here we don't need of any back button, we can have the submit button. Okay, now see, okay, now see, when we are in the customer update profile page, like in the customer my profile page, see here, when he clicks on the update page, it will go to the customer my profile update page with the id. Okay, this is a name, right? So first we need to retrieve that id. So in the customer my profile update page, here, okay, I will use here, I will retrieve that id, so that is in the integer, so integer id equals to, okay, in the place of id I will give customer id. Okay, So integer, right? Integer dot parseInt of request dot get parameter by using its name. What is the name I have given to it? The name was ID. Okay, the name was ID. So the ID whichever you are sending, it will be retrieved to its by its name ID. So now the retrieve ID will be stored in this, okay, customer ID. And one more thing we can retrieve here as that is nothing but the string, because he was get logged in, the email was stored in the C email by using the session. Okay, we set the attribute. So now I will use that string email. I will convert that string by using the session dot get attribute. I will get the whoever the email he used for login. That email was stored in the C email while time of the login process. So I am getting that email and I am storing it in the email. Now what we need to retrieve the data of the customer email, whoever have this email and his ID. Okay, for the particular reasons, like for exact data I am using this ID and the email. By email also we will get the data, but by using this ID, that is a unique ID, so that we will get the exact data of the customer. So now here I will use a try and catch block methods for exceptions. Okay, exception e dot print stack trace. Okay, now in the catch block we need to write. Before that, what we need to do, we need to connect with our database. So for that I need to include the connect to file equals to connect.jsp. Now we are connected with our database. Okay, now we are connected with our database. Now inside the try block I will write by using the prepare statement. PS equals to con dot, okay, prepare statement. Same, we need to retrieve from, select everything from customer where email has email, and we have the customer email and customer ID, so with the email and his ID, so whoever the customer has this email and this ID, we need to retrieve his data. So first we need to set the email, because the first placeholder was a email. Okay, the first placeholder was email, so I am setting that value 1 comma email, which is nothing but in this email we have the address of the customer email address. Now we need to set the second placeholder, that is nothing but ID. So for that, ps dot set integer comma 2 comma cid. Okay, cid. Now what we need to do, we need to use the result set to handle the result. Rs equals to ps dot execute query. Okay, now we need to loop it. Okay, we need to loop it through this result set. So for that, when I am ending the scriptlet tag and I'm closing it, in between this tag we need to use this inputs. Okay, we need to use this inputs so that the data can be, we can place the data in the forms. Okay, how in this input, see, first we have the C name. Before that I am taking one more input. Okay, I'm taking one more input and I'm giving the type as the number, and I will give the name as customer ID. Okay, I will display his ID also. So I will remove this placeholder. I will remove this placeholder. I will give the value. Okay, already we have the customer ID, so it is stored in the CID by simply using the expression tag CID. Okay, the CID was, the customer ID was stored in the CID, so I am giving that value to this. Now what the customer has ID must be just read only. So he we didn't want to give any permissions to change the customer ID because it has to be unique. Okay, same for the email also. We need to give only read only, so that he can just see it, but he can't change the email and customer ID. So for email also we already have the email, right? So here I will give value equals to, in the double quotes, expression tag equals to email. Okay, now the customer ID and the email was, we set the values for both of them, but the CNAME was, we didn't have the CNAME here. We need to retrieve it from the database and it was stored in the RS. So for that I am giving the value, the expression, the brackets in the expression tag. Okay, the expression tag, the result will be stored in the RS row, RS, right? So RS dot get string of, what is the data here? The data was a customer name. The customer name was in the which column? That is in the second column. So I need to give that second column. Okay. So here the value will be in the form, the value will be retrieved from the database and it will be displayed it in the in form. Okay, and same for the mobile also, same value equals to, inside the value we use the expression tag and we will get the, we will get that value. So mobile number 1 2 3 4 5, so 5. Okay, now for the date of birth, value equals to expression tag, rs dot get date of. Okay, get date of, what is the value to the mobile? 6. Okay, save. Next we, okay, and here in the, see, these are all the input tags. So we are setting the we are using the attribute name value and we are setting the values in that. But in place of the text area, in between the text area tags, we need to use a expression tag and equals to rs dot get string, the data in the string format, and what is a column number? That is 7. So we need to use that simply expression tag, no need of any value attributes. And same for the pin code. This is input tag. So I'm using the value attribute, double quotes and expression tag and rs dot get int of 8. Int of 8. Now here we can get the data in the form. Okay, and saving it and see, and saving it and see, I'm refreshing the my profile page. See here, when I click on the update page, okay, see, when I click on the update page, it has gone to update my profile page. Okay, my profile update page, and see, this is a customer ID. So this we can see it, but we can't change it. See, when I try to change it, it is not changing because we have given the read only attribute. But in the case of the name, I didn't given the read only attribute. So here I can update my full name. And same for the email. Here in case of the mobile number, if you want to change that number, you can change that number. Okay, now this is our date of birth. If you want to change your date of birth, you can change it. And this is address. If you want to change your address, you can change. And here the pin code. Okay, when he click on the submit button, the data has to, process, okay, in the next file. So when the user enters, when he submit the form, it will check for the action element, action tag, action attribute, sorry, action attribute. In the action attribute, we need to give the address where we will retrieve the data and we will update the data in the database. So for that, customer, I'm creating one more file name as customer my profile update data dot .jsp. But instead of nc, I am removing nc type because here we are not taking the image. So I have removed nc type. I'm using simple method and action. Okay, and I'm saving it, and I need to create one more file, that is where we need to retrieve all this data and we need to update it in the database. Okay, here this is the backend process. So I'm using just simple industry name, and inside this, here what we need to do, we are updating the data whichever the user was entered or changed in the my profile update page. So okay, here we need to compulsory connect with our database, so I am including connect file. Okay, here I will include a connect .jsp file. Now what we need to do after connecting, we need to retrieve all the data whichever the customer has changed, or if he left that whatever the data it has. So for that, first what we need to do, in the customer my profile, see, we need to retrieve all the data, he whatever the data was in the form. So first what we have the customer id, so that is in the it is in the number. So I am retrieving customer id equals to integer dot parse int. Okay, here we will not change the customer id, but by using the customer id and the email, we will update the data where the customer id and email is there. Okay, for the particular customer and for the particular customer email id we have, right? So for that person only we will change the data. For that purpose only we will retrieving this customer id data. Okay, get parameter, and I have given the name, and I'm given the name as cid, right? So I will use that name CID. Okay, here I have retrieved the customer ID. Next, what we have the name C customer name. So that is in the string format. C name equals to request dot get parameter of what is the name, C name. Okay, and next we have the email. So string email equals to request dot get parameter of what is a name. See, the next one is email, right? So the name of it is email. Okay, now email. Okay, the next one we have is a mobile number. So here we need to string mobile equals to request dot get parameter of mobile. Okay, next what we have date of birth. So that is in the string dob equals to request dot get parameter. So parameter of what is the name we have, dob. Okay, now after the string what we have the address and the pin code. So I will use the address by using the request dot get parameter of is the name, address, and address, and we have the pin code that is in the number. So I will pass that into integer as int of request dot get parameter of whatever the name I have here, we need to give that. So here you have pin code, so I will use that name. So now see, now we have retrieved all the data. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to update that data by using his id and his email. Okay, now we have already connected with the database also. Now what we need to do, we need to take the try and catch blocks. Okay, try and catch blocks for the exception handling. Okay, e dot print stack trace. Okay, in the try block we will write the code. Okay, now by using the prepared, okay, prepared statement, I will execute the query. For that con dot prepare statement, here what we are doing, we are updating the data. So for that the query is update. Okay, what we are updating, we are updating the customer table. Okay, we are updating the customer, update customer, and we need to use one keyword that is nothing but set. What are the values we are changing? We are changing the values that is his customer name, mobile number, date of birth, address, and pin code. Except email and ID, we are changing all these details. So for whether he changed or not, we need to set the values as set CNAME, because we have given him permission to change these values. So if you want to change, he will change. If not, it will be same as the CNAME and it will be same updated values. So CNAME, so instead of a CNAME, we need to check it in our database. What is the name? We have here F name. So we are changing F name and comma. After the CNAME, we are changing, we are not changing email, right? And we are changing the mobile. So I am using the mobile equals to placeholder. And what we have, DOB, date of birth. And what we have, address. After that, what we have, the address and pin code. Okay, now we are changing all these where email equals to question mark and CID equals to question mark. Okay, understand, where the customer and the ID is same, then only we need to change that address. Okay, for that particular customer only we are changing that data, because he is only gets into his profile by logged in and he is updating his profile. Okay, now here the date was in the string format, date of birth, so we need to change that into date format. So for that I am importing java.sql.date, because for the database we are using the SQL, so the date has to be in the date format. So for that I have imported that Java class. Okay, now date of birth, okay, dot date of, which is nothing but date of birth, equals to date dot, okay, value of string, which is nothing but it is in the string, right? So I will use that string, it will be converted into SQL date. Okay, now so we need to set the values for this placeholders, right? So first placeholder we have F name. So for the F name, I am setting the value ps dot set string of 1 comma, where we have the F name in the CNAME variable. So I will set that CNAME variable name. Now after that, ps dot, I am setting the value for the mobile number 2 comma mobile. I have the data in the mobile variable. Now after that, ps dot set string. No, it is the date was the date of birth is in the date format. So I'm setting the value as set date 3 comma. So date of birth, DTO, that is nothing but date of birth. So next, after date of birth, I am setting the value for address 4 comma, it is in the address variable. Now ps dot send integer, because the pin code was in the integer format, pin code, but I didn't give the value here. So 5 comma pin code. Now after the pin code placeholder, what we have, I have to set the email placeholder. So for that, ps dot set string comma 6 comma, where it is in the email variable. Now after that, I am setting value for the ID of the customer. So it is in the integer form 7 comma, it is in the CID variable. So I am placing that. So we are using the update query. So for that we will use rows equals to ps dot execute update. Okay, now after that we need to check whether the query was executed or not. So for that it will give the integer value 1 or 0. Okay, if the rows are greater than 0, then the query executed successfully. Okay, if not, the query was not executed successfully. So inside this if loop, if the query executed correctly, then only it will go to the if loop. Inside this if loop, I am using the script tag to display the message like pop-up. So I'm using the alert, and inside the alert I am saying as profile updated successfully, and we need to navigate him, like we need to send him to which page? To the profile page. So for that, customer, what is the address for the my profile? Customer my profile. After updating the data of his profile, we are sending him to the customer my profile page. And if the else part means where the query was not executed, means we will send the message as failed to update profile. Failed to update profile. Please try again. Okay. Now fail to, now where we will send him to the same customer my profile page only, then he will try to re-update his data. Okay, now after this I'm saving it and I will go to my customer profile page. Okay, I'm refreshing it. Okay, now again I will change the data from Radha to Radha Krishna. I am changing the last number from 88. Okay, I'm changing the date of birth also, like 22 KPHP. I'll change the address and I am changing the pin code also. Okay, when I click on the submit button, see it is showing me the profile updated successfully. Okay, after updation, where we are sending the customer? We are sending the customer to the his profile page where he can check if his data is updated or not. Okay, now see, when I click on the OK button, see it was in the my profile page where my name was updated. Here my last number was updated, date of birth is updated, address and the pin code. Okay, now we are left with this image. Okay, how we need to display that image and how we can update that image also, I will explain it in the tomorrow's class. Okay, now this is how we need to display his profile, and we need to give the permissions whatever the data he needs to update. So we need to give particular permissions for that data only. Okay, this is how we will update the profile in the project. Okay, it will be useful for our projects also. So just do some practice whenever you have the time. Just do some just listen this class once again. Okay, and do some practice, so you will get to know everything. Okay, this is for today's class. Okay, thanks Akshita, Charan, Patari. You can drop off from the class, or if you have any questions you can unmute yourself and you can ask me, or you can simply ping me in the WhatsApp. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the today's class.